Greetings YouTube and welcome to my latest weapons build. This is a dumbbell handle. It's the kind of handle you use to make your own weights. You take these things off, you slide some weights on there, and then you put them back on, and then you can set the weights to wherever you want to. It's long enough that you could easily get this thing into the 40-pound range, probably, maybe even higher, depending on how many weights you have and of what size. Not my thing. I don't lift weights. I have enough time lifting my own depression. But this is a hollow tube, which is cool because it means the handle itself isn't heavy. I actually have this right here, this piece of steel, which is sitting on my workbench. I use it all the time for tapping things and getting into locations where a hammer head is difficult. This is a solid steel version of this. This was originally almost that long, and I've cut pieces off it for other projects. But I love this thing. It's really handy. But it's heavy. This is not heavy. These, however, are metal, and this grip is really nice. So I'm thinking, I'm looking at this going, I could turn this into something that's going to be kind of cool. And it's got a grip, which I'm going to put here. And it's got a cap on one end, so I'll use that as the finished end. And it's got these, which I can move out to here, but I don't want to just tighten them in place. I want to get them to be a better fastener than that, to attach them more firmly than just tightening them against the shaft. If you're just going up and down like this with a weight, that's sufficient. But if you're going to be as really dynamic and start moving stuff around, you're going to want something that's a little more firm than that. So I want to figure out what size that is. I don't know what size thread that is, and see if I can say if I have any fasteners of that size, and maybe I can do better than this. So the first thing I got to do is get this thing apart, and then see if I can figure out how many fasteners of that size, because I don't know what that size is yet. I got lucky. These are 5/16, whatever thread count this is, but they're the same I got right here, and I've got nuts and bolts of that size, so that's awesome. Because what I would like to do is put a nut on the inside, bolt through it, and be able to tighten it up with the threads on the outside and then the nut on the inside to hold it firmly in place. Obviously, I'll have to drill a hole for that. This is going to be the grip, and I would like a stop, so I'm going to put a 1/4 hole through here and use a piece of this all thread with a couple of cap nuts, acorn nuts on either side. That'll be a physical stop to keep your hand from going off the end. And I'm going to hold this in place with a couple of holes and a couple of 1/4-inch rivets, because I don't need anything fancy for that, and I want it to be as flush as possible, and 1/4-inch rivets give a fairly low profile. And so I'm going to have to drill one hole going this way, and I'll probably put them in line because that'll make my life easiest. Because if I put one here that goes all the way through, I could then use that as a pin. I have a pinning jig, I'll show you that later, that will then let me drill the other two holes and get them in line with each other so everything nice and tidy. But those two only have to go in on one side. They don't have to go all the way through, which is kind of nice. And this is a piece of scrap I had left over from another project. This whole thing cost me $3. These were fractions of a penny. I bought an entire collection of a guy's fasteners from an estate sale. His son sold it to me, and I bought thousands of fasteners for pardon me, only because I'm burping, for $50. So I got, these are fractions of a cent. So that's cool. So this is going to be a low-cost build. This obviously will be the head, and I'm decided I think I'm going to go for kind of a classic, just to look like, I kind of like that. I mean, you could do this if you wanted to, like, get two kind of a disc mace thing going on there, but I kind of want just a solid head like that. And I'm probably going to set those up so that they are the opposite of each other. And I'm hoping I can get them to be relatively square. They don't sit on here perfect, so I may find a way of shimming this so that's kind of centered. I don't know how I'm going to do that yet. Maybe a piece of like sheet metal or something in there just to hold it centered while I'm tightening it. I don't know, I haven't decided. I'll just put a wedge on a piece of folded sheet metal on the side to act as a spacer. I'll figure out how that really should look when I get to that stage. But I have access to sheet metal. We have cans, you know. I mean, we've got cat food cans and we've got soda cans. Either of those will produce pieces of sheet metal that I can use. So those will be cost me nothing. So the next thing I'd have to do is set up my V block, because I want to get the V block set up so I can get that done first, because that's the only through hole. And that will become my pin space for these two. I don't think I can use it for these two because it's too far away. My bed of my drill press isn't that big. It'd be nice if it was that big. It's not that big. It does make me wonder, how much difficulty would I have increasing the bed on my drill press? You know what I mean? Making this thing bigger. It's going to have to be steel, because I need steel. But if I were to put a piece of steel on here, the difficulty comes then I have to make sure I have enough through holes, and I have to reflect these slots, which is a pain. But would it be worth the effort of making this thing bigger? I don't know. I'll have to think about that. I would love to get a standing floor model. This is not a floor model. This is a benchtop model. Get a standing model, like 20-inch with like a 1 horsepower motor with variable speed. That would be awesome. But the ones I'm looking at, the minimum I'm looking at is like $900, and most of them are in like the $1,200 to $1,400 or $1,500 range. And I can't swing that right now. But that would be cool. That would be so cool. Alrighty. So first up, get the V block set up and start drilling some 1/4-inch holes. Oops, sorry. So I've made a decision. This one's already done. I've done a through hole, and that will be for this threaded rod, and I'll have 2 cap nuts, not hex nuts like this, but cap nuts on the side, on the ends, to make a stop for your hand. But I figured out the easiest thing to do to make sure everything lines up is to drill this hole here while it's on here. So I put some electrical tape on the middle. I just kind of screwed it on after that so it snugly fit here. And then I'm going to drill this hole. And then I should be able to drill that hole coming off of this one so that they are in line. And if they're not perfectly in line, at least 2 of them will be. So that's my goal here, is to get 2 of them to be in line. And that way, hopefully, I'll be able to get that one right there visually. Hopefully I can pull it off. We'll see. I've got my pin here, which I'll be using to come through here to hold the thing vertical, so that at least this one and this one will be in line with each other. I don't know if I'm going to be able to use it for this one, because these are together. And I don't know if using that pin on a single hole is going to really matter, because if you get that in there, there's nothing preventing the tube from moving around a single. It only works when it goes all the way through. So that one just may be a visual lineup on that. And again, only one, I'm pretty sure I can get it close enough that nobody's really going to notice, and that's going to then be riveted in place when I'm finished. I got a little ahead of myself, but there's a reason for it. As I was getting to the point of laying out this, where the heads were going to be and how I was going to do the holes and everything like that, it occurred to me that there was no way I was going to be able to hold a nut in place effectively. I mean, I guess technically I could have tried to make myself my own wrench, but that still wouldn't have given me a lot of grip, and I wasn't happy with that design. So I'm like, well, this is too thin to thread, because this is not very thin. This is not very thick anyway. You wouldn't even get a full thread on this. So you couldn't thread this. These have thread, so I wasn't worried about the fastener coming out of these. So what I did is I drilled a 1/4-inch hole, and then I just screwed the 5/16 bolt through the 1/4-inch hole. It was not a fast process, because that's a very tight, very snug connection, and I ended up having to use this, which ended up being, what is it, a 1/2 inch? Yeah, it's a 1/2 inch. The only 1/2 inch I've got at the minute is a 1/4-inch drive, so it's not a very big ratchet wrench. So what I did is I used this tube here on the handle, and then literally just walked it. I would walk it in an arc, come back. I would walk it in an arc in a nice, slow, steady manner, until eventually I got all of them, both of them, all the way into snugging up. as far as I want them to. They just come in contact with the heads themselves. They are not perfectly straight. I freely admit this. There's a slight angle there, but there was no way for me to get shims in there while I'm trying to juggle all this other crap, so I decided to screw it. Again, post-apocalyptic aesthetic. If there's a little bit of, side goggling going on here, I'm okay with that. So here we have the handle, which is, yeah, of course, when I got this done, I realized that the handle, which took so much effort to get in line, all those things look good, and they're not in line with these at all. I was so much concentrating on this, I forgot to try to line them up even slightly visually with those. Well, best laid plans of mice and men and all. But I'm really happy with this. This comes out as a nice design. It's got a good heft to it. I mean, this thing's going to hit like a truck. It really is. And all the components here came out of a dumbbell handle. Again, $3 at a thrift shop. You could buy these at yard sales for that's probably the same. People are just giving these away. Sometimes I've literally seen people give away this kind of thing before on Craigslist. So the components are very low cost, and this being hollow means that it's not too heavy, and all the weight is up here, which is where you want it. And you got lots of nice impact points, both with the nuts and with this edge here. So and with these here, so you're going to have a lot of good solid impact. It's not likely to slide off quite as readily off of harder armor, and I guess soft armor, it's going to go right into it and just dump all of that kinetic energy. So yeah, happy with this thing. I think I'm just going to call it a dumbbell mace, because that's what it is. It's a mace made out of a dumbbell. The only thing I added to this was fasteners, and you could have technically used these if you really, really wanted to. I just liked these better, and I had them in my collection. So those are going back in their home. 1/4 inch all thread with a couple of cap nuts, and you could have used regular nuts on there if you really wanted to. It's just a slightly different way of tightening it. You got to tighten from both sides at the same time, as opposed to this, which I can make a bolt by bottoming out the thread on one side and put it through, and then I have a bolt. So yeah, very happy with this. So I'll be taking pictures now for both this video and for my DeviantArt page, which you should follow me on, as well as Instagram. Instagram, I post bargains I find, so you get to see scrap stuff I pick up along the way. Literally pick them off the side of the road. In fact, I got a really good piece the other day that should make an interesting build in the future. And I swear I didn't steal it. But and I also post bargains I find, weird things I find at thrift shops, as well as cute cat pictures, and who doesn't love a cute cat picture? So, thank you for being here, folks. I hope you enjoyed yourself, and I hope you come back for the next one.